Hello. So this is the Nikki's Businessy Woo Club's July workshop on feminine and masculine energy in business. That was a gobful, wasn't it? Right, let's try and share my screen. I think I've got it there. Yay. Okay, so can you see that, Trace? Yeah. Marv. If you've got any questions or anything that you want to say or relate to or whatever, just bob in while I'm chatting. Let me see if I can make that big. Okay, so feminine and masculine energy in business. So I never really understood what it meant, to be honest. I always thought like feminine was a woman and masculine was a man, and I didn't realize that you could relate it to your business. And when I found out, it really did change everything. So something that I wish I'd have understood when I very first started my business journey is that there has to be a balance of both masculine and feminine energy. And if we favor one more than the other, that's okay, but there's still got to be a balance. We still have to pull in the masculine energy, which is normally the foundations of our business. So getting everything sorted out, and it's normally the boring shit stuff that we don't want to do. And I'm not saying accounting is boring for anyone that's an accountant, but numbers aren't my thing. So it's normally like getting your account sorted out, registering your business, doing all those types of things to get it established and grounded in the foundations. And then the creative stuff is like more the feminine energy, where we just have fun and we've got all these ideas, but the feminine's got nowhere to go if there's no strong foundations of the masculine. So I don't know what you know about tarot, but there's the Emperor and the Empress card, and the Emperor on my card, he's holding the world, and he's like got all this, he's like organized, and it's like strategy and what's the other word, just basically having things structured. And they create the Empress is like wee, and she's got like a pregnant belly with a swell on it, and she's got one hand on a tree and the other one in a bush, and there's like a river running past her, and she's just like, yeah. And the man's like, ah, fuck. So that's like the balance of the two. So let's get clear on what the differences are, and that the masculine and feminine energy that we're talking about here is very different to what we would assume male and female is. So like I was just saying, all of us, no matter who we identify as, man, woman, even non-binary, we've got both of these energies within us. Think of yin and yang. So it's like that. However, it is possible that we can be in between these energies too, as in being mostly feminine, but a little bit masculine. So there's always a bit of both, but it's that like scale of, I don't know if you want to call it polarity. We've got the feminine one end and the masculine the other, and we sort of move between it. And one day we'll feel like we really want to get shit done, and the next day we'll be in creative mode and we won't want to do all the serious stuff. So it balances like that, but it does exist within everyone. So masculine energy is associated with the qualities of strength, assertiveness, and independence. It's the energy of action, and it's getting things done and of taking charge. So it's all like what I was just saying, the practical, the logical, the rational. So men are like, or the masculine energy, sorry, not men, is like going like that. So it's linear, physical, structured, strategy, doing, and competitive as well. If you can hear anything in the background, my daughter's on one. She's just like whizzing around like a little spinning fly. She's having the best time ever, but she's just a little bit squirrely. So just shut all the doors, but I've just heard her then. And then the feminine energy is the energy of receptivity, of allowing, and of surrender. It's the energy of intuition, creativity, and flow. So creative, intuitive, flowing, emotional, acceptance, playful, compassionate, open, and receiving. And this can be quite tricky for us to lean into our feminine, especially in such a masculine dominated world. And I'm not being like sexist or anything like that, but it is, isn't it? And we have to do a lot. We have to keep going. We have to run the house. And for those, you know, like if you're on your own with the kids, then you have to be everything to everyone and try and get all the shit done, but still do all the things and still be soft and still. So when people say just be open to receiving and just surrender, that can feel like really, really hard and really scary sometimes, just leaning back into that energy. But it's all about the trust and the softness. And when we can just, sometimes by letting things go and surrendering is where we take back our power. Because it's like, I am taking back control by releasing my need to have control over everything, if that makes sense. That's what happened to me in lockdown. I was like, oh my God, I can't do this and I can't do that. And I felt really like trapped and was like, oh, and didn't realize what a control freak I was. And then I was like, do you know what? If I choose not to give a shit, it'll take it all away. And it did. And I was like, oh my, and then as soon as lockdown was finished, I got the word surrender tattooed on me left hand for just like the feminine energy. But also my mum surrendered. When she had cancer, she was like, I'm not having any more treatment in that. And it's a sign of bravery for me as well. But it can feel really scary. But that's the strength of the feminine, is the being open to receiving. So we need to understand it and find the balance, basically. So people often get confused by masculine and feminine energies because they instantly think of what it means to be a man or a woman in gender. For example, they would associate being a man with being big and strong and a woman being smaller and gentler. What's hugely important to remember when we look at masculine and feminine energy is that both are strong and powerful in different ways, and that we need to have both of these energies in our lives, and everybody does. But what we can often find is female entrepreneurs is that we tend to lean more into our masculine energy, which can often lead to burnout. And there's Sid there with his little fire on his head because he's all burnt out. And it can, because we just do. And I'm a Manny Jen, and I am a bit of a workaholic because I just fucking love what I do. So I have to remember to take breaks and regulate and ground myself. Even if I'm fighting it, because sometimes I can feel myself shutting down, but I can feel that masculine energy still trying to push through. I'm like, you've got to step away. So now I'm like dragging myself away to go for a walk, or to I don't know, go and do something, read a book, anything, or I try and get out if I can, away from the house, because that really helps. Slow the fuck down. As women, we're not meant to go 100 miles an hour every single day. We've got cycles, which means we need to honor our energy. And it's so important to our time of the month. It's super important at our time of the month. I can't fucking read today, can I? This is super important at our time of the month. It's so important that we slow down, nurture, recharge, and realign our energies, because I don't know if you've heard of a book. I'm not going to be able to remember the name of it now, am I? By Lisa Lister, and it's called Learn to Love Your Lady Landscape. And she talks in there about the seasons of a woman, how we've got like a spring, summer, autumn, and winter. So the winter is our period, which is when we go inwards and we're like, everything's gone, and we're letting go. We really need to nurture ourselves and slow down, and when it's like dark outside and we want to be inwards, like wrapped in a blanket with a cup of tea, it's all that. And then the spring is where we come out of our period and we go into our most fertile phase. So we're like little bunnies with our arses in the air, like hopping around everywhere, and we're like frisky, and that's our fertile stage. And then we go into the summer, where everything's just a little bit normal, possibly just for a couple of days. And then we start falling away. We go into our autumn, which is where we start getting PMT and shedding away. And then we go into our winter again. So if you can know where your cycle is, I haven't got a fucking clue where mine is, because I'm perimenopausal. It comes and goes and does what it wants. So I struggle to honor my cycle. But when I know it's here, I do create more space for myself if I can. It normally comes on like when I'm doing a launch or something like that, or when I've got something planned and I'm like, yay. So if we can honor ourselves and just create a little bit more space around those times, it will massively help our energy. And this is why we're linked to the feminine energy of the moon, because she isn't always visible in the sky. She shows us there's a time to do and a time to be. She's proper fucking clever and has amazing boundaries. Sorry, there should have been a little space there. And this is why we are, isn't it? Because she shows us that at least once a month we need to go and fucking hide somewhere, basically, when no one can see us, and just relax and chill and go inwards and nurture. And I'm really fucking grateful for her, because she sometimes pulls me in even when I don't want to. She'll just floor me, be like, right, face down, off you fuck. And I have to literally just lay there until like it's a few days sometimes. And that can have nothing to do with my period. So again, honoring our energy, honoring the cycles of the moon, if we can bring those in as well. Like, notice how you are around a full moon and a new moon. When do you generally have more energy? And I think personally it depends on what moon it is, because sometimes I'll think like the new moon in Capricorn, that's like wild and like, yeah, let's get shit done. But the full moon in Cancer, you just need to sit with some chocolates and watch sad films and just cry it all out, because you can't escape it. So it's the balance between the divine feminine and the divine masculine that helps us to create a meaningful and balanced life. But it's knowing what that feels like for you, because we're all different. Some of us are naturally more masculine in our energy, and that's okay. So again, it's knowing who you are, honoring that, not trying to be like anybody else, but knowing that if you do feel like you're pushing too hard, lean a little bit into your feminine, soften, surrender, show compassion, give love, those type of things. Whereas if you need to be more in your masculine, sometimes you need someone to shove a rocket up your arse and just get shit done. But we've all got that friend, haven't we? Okay, when we're too much in our feminine energy, here is how they show up in your business if they're unbalanced. So too much feminine, you've got lots of creative ideas but struggle to bring them into reality. So this can look like you're just writing posts, or you've got ideas for courses, or you're like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, and you just sort of idea after idea, but you're not actually doing anything about them, which can also be fine, because I believe that sometimes we get ideas that aren't meant for right now. But if you're not actually doing anything at all, then that can be a sign that you're too much in your feminine. You've got leaky boundaries. Oh God, I've got loads of typos in this. You've leaky boundaries and say yes to things you want to say. Fuck off with love, namaste too. And I don't know about you, but as I've got older, I find it hard to say yes to things that I don't want to do, if that makes sense. So my boundaries have really gone like, I've got terrible facial leakage. And even if I go, all right, people are like, oh, it's okay if you don't want to. I'm like, is it okay? I don't want to. I don't want to. But yeah, it can be really hard if you're just waking up, or you're just realizing that actually you don't want to do certain things that you've always done. And all of a sudden it can be like the mist is cleared and you're like, oh my fucking God, how am I here? And you're in like Jack and the Beanstalk's castle on the top of a cloud, and you're like, I have no idea how I'm going to get down from this. Sorry. So yeah, boundaries can be tricky to put into place. And if anyone hasn't read my book, there's a whole chapter on it called No is a Complete Sentence, and it's just basically how to say no kindly, and sometimes how it can take time to put boundaries in place. And you don't actually need to say fuck off with love, namaste if you don't want to. You can just say, can I get back to you? And then ghost them. I'm only kidding. And then just say like, oh, I've got something in my diary, I can't do that date. You have a lack of motivation to do the things that need doing in your business, like the admin and the accounts and answering emails and things like that. So what I've started to do is I have what I've called, it's what my coach calls a CEO day. So CEO, said that a bit fast, CEO day. So on a Monday, I try not to do anything other than things related to my business. So I'll make sure everything is in order. I know exactly what I've got all week, that I'm prepared for the week, that I've got like a bit of a content plan going on. I have a message, a Zoom call with my PA, and I'm ready for the week. So that's me getting my shit done on a Monday. And I love Monday mornings because I like to have the freedom to sort of do what I want as well. So if I wanted to meet anyone for a coffee, I'd go on a Monday morning, or that type of thing. So if you can have a set day for it, if that feels good for you, so that right, today's the day, I'm just going to fucking get it all done, and you just sort of make a big list and plow through it. And sometimes that can be the easiest way. I don't know about you. If I've got like 6 shit things on a list, all of a sudden I'll go, right, and I'll sit down, I'll be like, I'll plow through, and it'll take me half an hour. but I find them a massive energy leak. So as long as they're on a list, they're okay. But if I let them float around my head, they start giving me anxiety. So I try and write everything down on a list that needs doing, and then do the list. When we're too much in our masculine, you can feel completely disconnected from your purpose. So you're just focusing on doing. You're looking at the money side of thing, and you feel like you're poking yourself a bit with the shitty should stick, because you feel like you should be further on the way you are. And yeah, so all work and no play can often lead to burnout, lack of inspiration, achieving goals but never feeling fulfilled because you're just doing. Lack of joy and pleasure, just going through the motions. So it's like you've got all this stuff done, but actually, what does it even mean? Because you're just doing, and there's always something to do. Isn't that, as an entrepreneur, you could sit for fucking the whole of the year and stay awake if you could, and still have extra stuff to do. But it's about giving yourself permission to stop and being like, I don't have to do any more today. I'm done. I've done my list. And then there'll be that little part of you that will be like, ooh. And for anyone that's got an open heart in human design, we fucking push ourselves. Or gate 48 in the spleen, have a little look at that. I've just been researching that, which is all about the fear of never knowing enough, which means you always feel like you need to be learning or doing or pushing. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, I haven't actually got that gate, but I feel like I have. One of my clients has, and I was like, oh my God. But yeah, open heart. It doesn't matter what we achieve. We could set ourselves the biggest goal in the world and we'll still poke ourselves with the shitty should stick. It's like, what's next? What are you going to do now? You're like, oh my God, I've just smashed that target that I've wanted to hit 2 years ago. And that was going to be me, complete, like, you know, massive tick on the boards. Like, I'm done. That means I'm a success. And then you do it and it doesn't actually feel like anything. And you're like, that's not success to me. And like what you think it's going to be, if that makes sense, because you're just constantly like pushing yourself. Yeah, some big lessons along the way there. And looking at why you feel like you should be doing more. Where is it coming from? So has something triggered you? Have you read a post and someone's doing something that you think's better than you? Can you stop for a minute and just have a bit of a reality check and just remember how fucking amazing you are as you, the only you that's in this world and universe, and you know, you are supposed to be exactly where you are. And a story that I absolutely love, and I talk about this quite a lot, so sorry if it's boring, but the Twin Towers, all the people that were supposed to be in the building or be on the plane but didn't make it to work that day because they'd slept in, or they got off the train to get a plaster because the shoe was rubbing them, or their baby vomited on their shirt, so they had to get changed and they missed the train, or they were stuck in traffic. Like, so many people didn't make it to work on the morning of the Twin Towers, and they are alive today because they were exactly where they were supposed to be. In that moment, I always get goose pimples when I tell that story. So if you ever feel like you're in a rush, if you ever feel like you should be somewhere else, or you're pushing, just remember, like, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. So I just would love you to have a little think about what's going on for you in your business right now, and like how you feel. And can you identify with any of the things that I've said? Okay. So sometimes by just identifying where it is, you might be out of balance, like in your feminine or your masculine. It's enough to give you the clarity to start moving in the right direction. So it could be that you've got loads of amazing creative ideas in your feminine, but you can't seem to follow through with the action you need to bring these into life. Feels too heavy, feels like it's not fun. Normally your inner bitch steps in and tells you that why fucking bother, because everyone's doing the same thing that you're going to do anyway, and they're better than you. So it's just some days you might feel like you really want to get your shizzle done and feel like you're in proper hustle mode in your masculine, but you feel totally disconnected from what it is you actually want to do. To your head. I don't think that's supposed to be there at the bottom. Sorry. I'm not quite sure. Little typo at the bottom there. Let's just pretend that's not there. Yeah. So you could feel like you're doing, but you don't know what to do because all your creative juices have basically dried up and you're just like, I feel like I need to do, but I don't know what to do. And this is where, if you can keep a little book with all your brain farts in, and I've created a brain fart journal for exactly this, and it's got like half a blank page and half lines because I'm a bit of a doodler. So if I get an idea, I'll like spidergram it out and then be like, that's good, but it's not for now. And then I'll keep it. And then a few months later, I'll flick through and I'll be like, oh my God, there's that thing. And it's exactly the right moment because it just wasn't back then. So if you can keep a book of brain farts, and if anyone wants a brain fart journal, let me know. They're only I think they're £5.55 and I'll send you one out. But yeah, it's just seeing and feeling where you're at each day and just knowing where you need to lean towards. To your head, I need to get rid of that. So be honest, you'll only be kidding yourself. So the best way that I've found helps to bring these into balance, oh my God, there's so many typos in this, I'm so sorry, is by being self-aware and completely honest with what's going on for me, how am I feeling, and then getting some sort of clarity around what action I need to take. The more you know yourself and can trust yourself, the better and easier this will be for you. And again, we can make as many excuses as we want for ourselves, can't we? And be like, yeah, but I should be doing, yeah, but I haven't done that because of this and that, and like blame other people. But actually, the proof's in the pudding, isn't it? The only way you're ever going to be successful is if you do the do, if you keep going, if you put in all the energy and the effort and you find your balance in your way and you live your life to what success means to you, not looking at what other, how it's looking or feeling for other people, or, what it means to them. And I think that's what happens sometimes, isn't it? We look at all these people earning millions, and it's on my list. I want to earn £1 million before I die, and I'm getting there. I can see it happening, but I don't feel like I want a 27-bedroom mansion on an island. I don't feel like I need that. I'd maybe like a 6 or 7-bedroom house that's big enough to clean. Do you know what I mean? Maybe with a pool. But sometimes when we compare ourselves to other people's visions and ideas of success, we feel like that should be ours, and actually we get to choose, don't we? So, you might not be a materialistic person. It might be freedom for you, which is me. I want to have the money so that I can do whatever I want whenever I want to do it. And if we want to go away for the weekends, we can go, should we go to Center Parcs for the weekend? Oh yeah, come on, let's just book it. Or should we go to Lanzarote for 4 days? Oh yeah, that would be nice. Can we, just little things like that when it's pissing down all weekend and you can just go and hop on a plane. How fucking good would that be? That makes me want to pee glitter, like little things like that. So are you poking yourself with this should stick because everyone else is doing something that you think you should be doing, when actually you have a massive resistance against it, but you're trying to push through it anyway? So why? Like, where can you have a little look now and just see what's not aligned for you? What do you need to change, and why? Why are you people pleasing? I've just been writing some stuff out for the new course that I'm doing called Trust Yourself by Design, and it's all about literally peeling back the layers of people pleasing and finding yourself. Like, what do you love? How does your soul communicate with you? Basically, it's like, what's that connection feel like? And I think sometimes we don't create the space to go inwards enough to find our inner voice. We just sort of scratch the surface a little bit. But understanding your human design and understanding your clair senses and how it feels for you and your intuition and what you fucking love and what means something to you, like, that's massive. And I think when you've got clarity on that, the confidence that you have in yourself and your business, you're unshakable. So when someone asks you a question, you can make it from that place of, I actually just need a little day to feel into this and use all my tools sit and feel and think and journal and pull the cards and ask the pendulum and sit and meditate on it and feel into it and journal it out. And then, you know, like use me in a compass and use me clairsenses and maybe ring me mate and go, hey, and talk it out, because I'm a manager and my answers are normally from myself. So if I go, can I just, have you got any energy? Can I just, or any headspace, I say, can I brain dump on you? And they're like, yeah. And then by the time I finished, I've gone, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And they haven't even said anything. Like, are you awake? Okay, feel into it. When we check in with ourselves constantly and notice how we're feeling and be honest with ourselves, even if things aren't going as planned. So like what I was just saying, this is where the change is really going to start to happen. So what do you need most right now? It could be you're absolutely fucking knackered and you just need to go outside with your cup of tea and put your feet on the grass. Maybe not now because it's pissing down, but at lunchtime, you know, if you're sitting and your head's battered and you just need a little bit of space, it could be that actually you've just fannied around all morning and now you need to get shit done, you know, and if you don't get the shit done, it's going to bother you. So what can you do? Okay, in the next hour, I'm going to put my phone away and I'm going to get this, this and this done. And then when you've done it, you're like, oh my God, the sock box is empty. You know, it depends what it is. Fucking pisses me off, the sock box. So what's going to be most supportive to help you move through this instead of you getting frustrated? And again, Daisy said it to me yesterday. I pressed a button on my MacBook while I was doing a human design reading for someone. And I pressed a button and all these blue things came up on the screen. And I was like, oh, what are they? And could I find the button to get rid of them? And because I'd sat there for like an hour already, my head was fried. And she went, Mum, you just need a break. Just step away. And I was like, oh my God, I absolutely do. Wise words from a 10-year-old. So I closed it and I went back to it today and I literally opened the screen and I could see the button at the top that I'd never seen before in my whole life, but I couldn't see it yesterday. So it's like, it really does work. Just, and she must hear me saying stuff because I was like, wow, step away. Okay. So I'm not talking about you thinking in terms of whether you're in your masculine or in your feminine too much, just more like, what do you need? Do you need to have fucking good whinge? Are you pissed off? Do you need to beat the shit out of a pillow? Like, what is it? Feel into that energy and just notice what it is that you need. Keep feeling. It could be you feel like you're trying to get stuff done, but you're not making any progress. So you feel like you need to step away from your computer and go for a walk, which is you connecting to your more feminine side. Or it could be you've lost your way. You feel frustrated or anxious, so you need to get some clarity on the situation and map out where you're going over the next few weeks. I love doing this, or months, to give you business. Oh, it's supposed to say more structure and strategy, not on, for fuck's sake. This would be you leaning into your masculine energy more. So I don't know about you, but for me, clarity helps me to just get rid of all the anxiety. So if I'm like, oh my God, I've got this, and like, sit down, make a list. Okay, there it is. What needs doing? That, and that. Okay, put it in your diary, make the time slots, put it all in, be realistic about how long things are going to take. And then maybe even make a 6-month plan. I've just done it about what I'm launching over the next 6 months, just in pencil, because I get to choose and I can take things away and add things in. And that's normally what happens with me. I feel like I'm going to do something and I get a brain fart one morning and go, I'm going to do this course. and then that goes as well. So, you know, honor your own energy and notice what works for you. Self-awareness is everything. By having self-awareness and trusting yourself and acting on what you need most in that moment when things don't feel balanced is where you'll find harmony in your life and your business. I've just done a course with my coach called Rich, Resilient and Regulated. And the first bit was all about regulation, and it was all about what are your signs that you're about to go into hypo or hyper? Like, are you going to shut down, or have you gone too far, or how do you feel when that's happening? And creating your own little toolbox around what you need to do. And it's a bit like this. So noticing, oh my God, my eyes have gone that way and I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at anymore. Go for a walk. Go and sit and watch the telly, put your phone in the drawer, you know, just give yourself, create some space, give yourself 20 minutes. But you can bring yourself, if you've gone over or something shit's happened and you're like all over the place, you can bring yourself back by just breathing for 90 seconds and like rubbing your earlobes, bringing your hands down here. So from the back of your ears down your neck. And I know you know a lot about somatic healing anyway, but it's that regulating your vagus nerve, isn't it? And it can be done really, really quickly. Going outside, putting your feet on the grass. And again, this is all what I'm talking about at the minute. So trusting yourself can be tricky at first, but you can't get it wrong. You've just got to listen to what your body is guiding you towards and choosing things that feel right for you. Because what might work for you might not work for me, and like vice versa. I find I can bring myself back quite quickly now by just going into another room and just breathing. Or I actually like folding washing sometimes because it just takes me head away from everything that I'm doing, and it's boring as fuck, isn't it? So it's like fold the pants, fold, and then your head will just sort of decombobulate. Or a little 10-minute meditation in the afternoon. I love that, especially if I'm about to fall asleep but I know a nap won't help. There's an app called Balance. I think I've shared it before. I don't know if you've seen it. It's got a big blue bee. It's free for the first 12 months. And there's a guy on it called Afosu, and he's got a voice like velvet. He's like, hello, thank you for joining me. I'm like, it's okay. And he's just like, you know, close your eyes and breathe. And after those, some of them are like 7 minutes long, but the benefits of meditating in the afternoon, especially if you're revising or studying, your brain compartmentalizes all the stuff that it needs to remember, so that next time when you want to remember it, it's like, oh, I know where that is, I'll put it over there, because you've created the space. It's just magic. So ultimately, it's all about what feels good for you and where you can find the most lightness, joy, and flow in your business, whatever that looks like for you, so that you always feel good no matter what you're doing, achieving your goals or leaning into the flow, so you can create something new and it all feels aligned. But it's all about the foundations. So as you already know, it's so important that your business has solid foundations. And by that, I mean getting clear on and constantly revisiting the fundamental questions for your business. I try and do this at least twice a year because we evolve. So what we think we want to do in January, come the summer, we're like, oh my God, I don't even want to do that anymore because I've learned this and got rid of that and seen this and this has happened. So it's all the main things. So what's your why? What's your values? What do you want to do? Who do you want to help and how do you want to help them? And just trust your vision. Excuse me. When we have this clarity, even when we feel out of balance, we can always come back to the strong masculine foundations, which help us to feel safe about where we are and where we're going. And sometimes it's just that, why did I start? Especially when you're stressed, you're like, what am I doing? Why don't I just go and get a job? It's too hard. And then you remember your reason, because you want to help people that felt like you, or feel like you did that day that you swore you'd never feel like that again. Or you want to empower people because you know what it feels like to feel not good enough and feel shit and not follow your dreams. Or you want to help people awaken or connect to themselves, or whatever it is that you do. You know, we normally have at some point had a catalyst, haven't we, of change that sparked something within us and made us go, actually, life's too fucking short. So balance equals feeling safe and regulated. So from the safety we feel from these strong foundations, we can then feel free to get creative and have fun, because we can always find our way back home if we get lost. So those of us who've got lots of creative juices that flow quite freely, sometimes we can just go off and be like, oh my God, what the fuck am I doing? I've just created and created and created, and you're in like this puddle of your own flow. And then you're like, that sounds a bit gross, that actually, doesn't it? That I didn't mean for it to sound like that, but you know what I mean? We can just go back to those questions. Why am I doing it? Who's it for? Okay, there we go. I'm here now, feet on the ground. And the energies that we call masculine and feminine essentially provide a framework for you to look at where you are in your business and where you need to lean into more alignment by understanding how you're feeling and tapping into your intuition to guide you. And it's just that, isn't it? How do I feel? I'm doing too much. What do I need to do? Stop. Go for a walk. Put everything down, even just for an hour. Fucking hell, there's 24 hours in the day. You deserve that hour. And that's what I used to struggle with a lot, was pushing myself. I was so mean. I was like, I constantly had to be doing all the time or I wasn't good enough. But then, yeah, I can get lost now sometimes in my creative juices. But okay, bye. By leaning into your feminine to look at what you need the most, then acting on that using your masculine energy. It's so simple once we're aware of it, and we can be like, okay, I'm doing this, I need to do that. Okay, I'm doing this, so that we're in alignment. But it just takes a bit of practice, and we just need to be kind to ourselves and just remember, why are we doing it? Because it is obviously to help people, but it's normally for something else. Like I want eventually for Mikey not to work. He's riddled with arthritis. I absolutely love the shit out of what I'm doing. He can't really stand his job very much. And I would love for him to just have that, like not have to get up in the morning with his swollen hands because he's got arthritis and go and weld all day and come home and just, he never moans. But I can see his hands are sore, or he'll be like, oh, my shoulders and my neck. And I want to leave a legacy for my children. I don't just want to leave a bit of, some jewelry or a little bit of money. I'd love to leave them a business or some property or something like that, so that they've got something, because it's so hard, isn't it, for them now? So yeah, who is your inspiration? Why are you doing what you're doing? So balanced feminine. Look at her little bow. Feels like inspired, creative and fulfilled. We've got healthy boundaries. Feminine is open and, compassionate and kind, but we don't take any shit and we're not a fucking walkover. So we do have nice, healthy boundaries. Deeply connected to your purpose. You know why you're doing it. Your business makes you pee glitter. You're open to receive and you know your worth. And then the balanced masculine feels like you've got a clear strategy towards your goal. You know where you want to be and you've got little steps to get there. You've set and maintained strong boundaries. You feel motivated to take action and bring your ideas to life. And like I was saying before, the masculine energy holds space for the feminine to feel safe and allows it to flow. And you've got to have both in order to have balance in your life and your business. Full stop, the end. How did you relate to that? Just let me press stop and then you can speak maybe a little bit more free. So thank you for everyone who's watching. If you've got any questions, please drop them in the group, and have a gorgeous evening. Bye.